Shalom Israel. Okay, we're going to continue where I left off at before in the book of Bereshit, and I'm going to be reading now the 6th verse. Okay, and the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise. She took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. Now I talked about now, remember, the man is the one that's in authority here. We're going to go to Numbers, the 30th chapter. I want to bring something out, okay, where Adam could have cleared this whole thing and even saved Eve. Okay, but he fell victim of the quabba. Okay, and we know those of us, I mean, acts around. You know, I don't want to say this on the air here, but, you know, men fall prey often to the quabba. And we have to make sure now that we don't get seduced when the woman said, listen, you know what, there's going to be no quabba tonight unless you do what I asked you to do. Okay, it's our responsibility to stand up as men, because it's our responsibility to make sure that the household, is ran properly. I'm going to read Numbers, the 30th chapter. I'm going to read, let's do 1 through 8. I'm going to do this real quick. And Moshe spoke unto the head of the tribes concerning the children of Israel, saying, this is the thing which the Messiah hath commanded. If a man vow a vow up to the Messiah, or swear an oath to bind the soul with a bond, his soul with a bond, he shall not break his word. He should do according to all that proceedeth out of his mouth. So it's the man's responsibility, okay, once he vows a vow to the Messiah, which means he's going to now come into covenant relationship with the Messiah, he must make sure now that he stays true to his vow. If a woman also vow a vow unto the Messiah, and bind herself by a bond, being in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she hath bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the days that he hear it, not any of her vows or her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and the Messiah shall forgive her, because her father disallowed her. Now, this is the same thing that's going on with our wives. Okay, and I just want to make sure I bring that out. I'm going to finish reading. And if she hath at all an husband, and she vowed or uttered out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and this is what Eve did. Eve, okay, she now broke covenant relationship with the man. She's now in a relationship with another man, which is this disagreeable spirit. Now, when Adam heard it, he had the power now to bring his wife back into covenant relationship with him. But what happened with Adam now, instead of him now disallowing this vow, this commitment that Eve is now having with this disagreeable spirit, he agreed also with Eve. Now, Adam is now, okay, he's now covering his head, and he's now following the doctrine of another man. And this other man is this disagreeable spirit, Hashatan. You understand what I'm saying? The man's covering is the Messiah. Adam now listens to his wife. The wife is listening to Satan. Satan has a doctrine. The man now covers his head, and he's now uplifting the doctrine of another man. Adam is now committing adultery, because Adam's head is the Messiah. He's now following the doctrine of his wife and Satan. He's now acknowledging Satan as his husband. Adam had the right to disallow his woman's vow by now bringing his wife back to him. That's very important. But Adam didn't do that. He submitted to his woman when the woman's role is to submit to the man. I'm going to read on. And the husband heard it and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it. So this is what Adam did. He held his peace. He gave in to the quabba. It happens all the time. When her vows shall stand, and her bounds wherewith she shall bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, this is what Adam should have did. Then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of non effect, and the Lord shall forgive her. But Adam didn't do that. Adam didn't save his woman. He submitted to his woman. And this made the thing all the worse. So now the Messiah is now going to check the chain of command to see what's going on. And the first person that he calls the man, the Ish. He calls Adam because the man is the head. And again, the head of the man is the Messiah. What Adam did now is that he covered or disrespected his head, and you're not supposed to cover or hide your head. It's your responsibility, like I said before, to show forth the praises and the glory of the Messiah, which is your head in the world. And Adam concealed his head. Not talking about a head wrap. Now I'm going to go back to the book of Bereshit. I'm going to speed this thing up here. Okay, and the eyes of them both were open, and they knew that they were naked. Now this naked here is not the same naked as in the book of Bereshit, the 2nd chapter, the 25th verse. This naked here now is that you're now exposed for who you truly are. You committed a sin. Watch this. And they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons. Now, don't get caught up now on where it says they sewed fig leaves together and they made aprons. What they're doing now is that they committed a sin. And what they're trying to do now is cover the sin, because they no longer are in the image of the Messiah. And that's what the word Torah means. The word Torah is the self-revelation of the Messiah in the world. And that commission was given to Adam, and Adam gave it to Eve, and they're now supposed to be one flesh. But they're now naked. And what they're going, because this happens with kids. Whenever a child does something wrong, the first thing they try to do, they try to cover themselves, or they try to cover the lie. And this is what Adam and Eve is trying to do. They're trying to cover the lie because they're now naked. They're now exposing themselves. And the Messiah can see through, okay, the lie. The same way that the Messiah was able to see through the lie, okay, of Satan in the book of Bereshit, the 3rd chapter, excuse me, the 1st verse. He said he was subtile. Subtile and naked is synonymous because it means arome. The Messiah was able to see through all of this. Now, let's go back now to verse 8. Bereshit, the 3rd chapter, verse 8. And they heard the voice of the Messiah walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Messiah amongst the trees of the garden. And the Messiah called unto Adam and said unto him, Where art thou? So listen to this, the chain of command. He's not talking about, Adam, where's your head covering? He came to the man first because he gave the command to the man. Remember in Genesis, the 2nd chapter, 15 to 16? He gave the commandment, he gave the terms of the contract to the man first. It's his responsibility. So the Messiah is coming to the man first. Because who's the man's covering? The Messiah. He has to answer to his covering, his head, not a scarf, not a kippah. He's not talking about that. We have to understand the higher principles of the scriptures. Leave Christianity alone, because if you try to understand these scriptures from a Christian perspective, you're going to miss the point and you're going to lead the sheep astray. All right? And the Messiah called it to Adam first and said it to him, Where art thou? It's not that the Messiah didn't know where Adam is at, but I'm giving Adam the opportunity to fess up, okay, to repent from his sins. But what did Adam do? He started to place the blame on everybody. Adam's going to place the blame on Eve, Isha. Isha's going to place the blame on Satan, so nobody's holding up to responsibility. And that's what we have to do as a community. We have to man up and woman up to our responsibility. We committed a sin. Father, I've sinned. Forgive me. This is about repentance. Adam did not do that. Okay? With Adam now worshiping Satan, he became arrogant. He's no longer responsible. And it's up to you men to be responsible. All right? And he said, excuse me, and he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself. So he's trying to cover himself. Who told Adam that he was naked? Who told Adam that you were now exposed? Who told you that? Because he had now dishonored his head. When you dishonor your head, you're now exposed. You're naked. I hope I'm getting clear with this here. I'm just trying to elaborate on this thing as clear as possible so there's no misunderstanding. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree which I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? So what happened now is that Adam broke Torah. Okay? Adam and the Father and the Messiah are no longer in covenant relationship because you broke the terms and the conditions of the marriage. Now you're naked. The nation of Israel was kicked out of the land of Canaan, of Jerusalem, because you became naked. You're now exiled out into the world. The same thing is happening to Adam and Eve now. Once you break covenant relationship with the Messiah, you dishonor your head. Now you leave out of the house. Adam, you want to submit to Satan and your woman, then you and your woman get the hell out of my house. Because this is a marriage. You can't do what you want to do in this house. You have to respect the covering. And we're not talking about the keeper or wrapping a turban around your head. Respecting the cover and not covering up the cover is the Messiah. If you don't want to do that, you get exiled out of the house. And he said, who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat? And the man said, the woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. So now we have the man, the Ish, blaming the Isha. He's not taking responsibility. Father, okay, you're right. I fell under the whims of my woman. And if Adam would have stood up, okay, it probably would have been no problem for the Messiah just to give the man another woman and just punish her. But what happened now again, all right, this is about community responsibility. You both sin together, so you will both be punished together. And again, I'm not coming down on women. This is about a collective thing, okay? Men, you are responsible for your wives and your children. Okay, you are their covering. That's what Paul is talking about in 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter. All right. And the Messiah said unto the woman, what is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. So the woman is saying, now listen, this man that I met at the party, okay, he looked good. He was tall, dark, and handsome. All right, he said he can swing his rod, he can do this and he can do that and things like that. And I entertained that. And so what happened now was that she brought this information back home after coming home from a party. And this is just an example now. This is not a literal party, but I'm just talking about in today's terms what happened. The woman goes out, she hears something that intrigues her. She comes back home, brings this information now back to the home, and it now sows discord. And it's up to the man to hold fast to that which he has, which is the responsibility of keeping the Torah and making sure that nothing gets, shaken out of place here. Now, that's pretty much it with that there. Okay, and I just want to go up to the 1 Corinthians, and I guess I'll just finish it up because everything else should be self-explanatory after that. But if a woman be not covered, let her be shaven. But if it be shame for a woman to be shorn or shaven, let her be covered. Okay, so we know that women don't like to walk around bald-headed, so listen, if a woman is married, it is her responsibility, okay, to recognize her husband as long as he's following Torah, okay? You men, don't be aligned in your own house, beating and choking out and say, baby, woman, you got to do this, you got to do that. Listen, we're going to reason together, not compromise, okay? We're going to reason together, we're going to work together as a team with this, and we're going to, as a unity, come back into covenant relationship with the Messiah. Okay, Israel, let's work together. Okay, we're a team here, and the enemy does not want to see the black man and the black woman together. And with that, I say,